Paul Fletcher, like a lot of senior ministers, you've got a legislative agenda to get through and not much time to do it. In your case, a bill for pensioners, about 90,000, would be better off if this goes through. Will that happen within this sitting fortnight?
Well, the bill has been introduced and expected to be debated today or tomorrow. And under that bill, we're giving pensioners more choice and more options for the income that they rely on in retirement. So the pension bonus will go from $250 to $300 a fortnight. That's an amount you can earn without it affecting the test for your pension of your income. So it doesn't reduce your pension. So that gives people more options. They can go out and earn some money. We're also giving people the opportunity to borrow against their home to get a loan payment that will come through Centrelink and gets added to your pension. And what you'll be able to do is borrow an amount so that the total payment you receive, comprising your pension and the loan payment, can be up to 150%.
This was, I think, a budget measure, was it not? With such limited time available now, so there's today and tomorrow, and then there's but 1 week really before the budget next year. Why wasn't this managed as a priority a little earlier? Why are we looking at the clock here with 1.5 days remaining this year?
Oh, look, we've been working pretty assiduously on this. The third element of the bill is really the answer to your question, because there's some measures in there to change the income test and the asset tests to deal with annuity. We've made some changes because we want to encourage people to take up those kind of products if it suits them. Because of the technicalities, there has been several months of consultation with the financial services sector on those issues, and that's why it's taken a little bit of time to get this legislation in.
Fair enough.
It's now in, and I don't expect it's going to be particularly controversial, so I'm hopeful we'll be able to get it through the House reasonably quickly. Then it need to go to the Senate. So that will be next year, but I'm pretty hopeful we'll get that.
Yep, that accounts for that delay, and I think you're right. The indications from Labor are that it'll probably get through. There was also another bill that has been passed by the Parliament this week, and that would mean that new migrants to Australia have to wait longer before they can avail themselves of welfare payments. How have you satisfied yourself that no one, or very few people, as new settlers in this country, would be worse off, vulnerable, because of this change?
What we've done here is change the rules so that for a series of payments, particularly working age payments like New Start, you need to have been in Australia for 4 years before you're eligible to go on those payments. Now, bear in mind, the great majority of people who migrate to Australia do so under the skilled migration program. So they've been already tested and found to have highly relevant qualification, skills, experience, and in fact, the employment outcomes of people coming into Australia on the skilled migration program is very, very good.
So very few, you expect very few, because of that track record, to be in a situation where at the start of year 2 in Australia, they were down on their luck and needed the dole. You're saying very few would suffer because of this change.
We think that'll be pretty unlikely. It's important to make the point. There's an existing safety net for people in that situation. That safety net will continue. That's called the significant change of circumstances exemptions. The history suggests that people who come in on this basis do very well in employment terms. It makes sense to say, we'd love to have you in Australia. Be aware when you arrive, you can't access our social security system for 4 years in terms of this designated range of working age payments.
All right. Okay, let's step outside of your portfolio. A couple of things for the government generally. Religious freedom. The Prime Minister seems to be holding out what I guess he would describe as an olive branch. Do you believe that will pass before Parliament rises this year?
Look, I'll leave those projections to others, but what I'll simply say is the Prime Minister has articulated very clearly this morning our approach on this issue and the importance of religious freedom. It is an issue of great concern to many Australians. That's why we had the Ruddock review earlier this year. That's why we've gone through a careful cabinet process, and the Prime Minister has set out this morning the approach that he'll be taking to the Parliament.
Right. Yeah, time's definitely running out on that. Monday, you're in the party room that decided that in future it would take a 2/3 majority to remove a sitting Prime Minister. Just your understanding of the rules on this. Prime Minister says that stands until it takes a 2/3 majority of the party room to knock it off. Why would that be the case? I mean, it was in essence established with a simple majority. Why wouldn't a future party room remove it with a simple majority?
Well, it's inherent in the very nature of the rule that the party room has now agreed to, and there was very strong support for it. So the rule is that when a leader of the Liberal Party
in government,
when a leader of the Liberal Party has been elected he or she comes in as Prime Minister, that there will be no change to that leader during that term. That's the rule. And then we also say any change to that rule would require a 2/3 majority in the party room. So that's the way it's set out. What that means is the Australian people can have confidence at the next election that the Prime Minister they elect, assuming, as I hope and expect they will, they elect Scott Morrison as Prime Minister, they can be confident that that decision will stand for the next term. It's not going to be overturned by the party room.
So it was clear in your mind when you voted on it that second threshold, that is the one we're talking about, it'll take 2/3 majority in the future to change it.
Absolutely.
It was clear in your mind.
No question of that.
Okay,
yes.
fair enough. We're not there, so we're just asking the question. Finally, the Roseville branch of the Liberal Party, it's in your electorate. It's the one that's going after Malcolm Turnbull, actually wants him expelled from the party. As the member in that area, what's your attitude towards their position adopted? And has anything Malcolm Turnbull's done this week perhaps reinforced their call for this to happen?
Look, the Liberal Party is a robust democracy. You know, when I was pre-selected, for example, there were 17 candidates in the pre-selection process, a very robust democratic process. I have many outstanding branches in what's called the Bradfield Federal Electorate Conference who support me. I am very grateful for the work of all of the party members in my electorate of Bradfield and all around Australia. The work they do is so vital to our democracy.
You don't ask them to cool their heels, though, when they start going after a former Prime Minister, and I think a friend of yours. Don't you intervene at some point and say, please, cease and desist?
Look, we have democratic processes in our party. Branches are free to move motions as they choose. That's a motion by a branch, let me hasten to add, a motion by a branch expressing an opinion on something is a very different thing from a decision being taken by the party. I don't. It's very.
You don't think it's going to happen?
It's a very different thing. I don't think it's going to happen. I celebrate the fact that the Liberal Party is a robust democracy, and I am very appreciative of the work of all of my party members in Bradfield and all of the Liberal Party members around the country. They play an important part in our democracy.
Do you celebrate Malcolm Turnbull's high profile adopted this week?
Malcolm Turnbull, as a private citizen, is absolutely welcome to contribute to public debate. And of course, he has a lot of experience, a lot of perspectives. And I'm sure we will continue to hear from Malcolm. That's entirely his right.
Polite and diplomatic. This might be the last time we speak to you on the news channel this year, Paul Fletcher. So we'll thank you and look forward to talking to you again next year.
And a great Christmas to all your viewers.